I think you're not experiencing the peace of Jesus because you either don't know how to or you don't want to. I feel like one of the hardest things to explain to people is the peace that Jesus gives you. Like, it's one thing to say it and talk about it and be like, yeah, Jesus gives you peace, during your struggles and your storms and your problems and your issues and everything that you're going through. Like, if you just trust in him, he's going to give you peace. But saying it and actually believing it and experiencing it are two completely different things. And that's why I think a lot of people turn to other things for their peace. That's why I think they turn to alcohol and drug abuse. They might turn to sex or anything really to get their mind off of that struggle that they're going through. And I feel like it's even harder for the person to actually understand it and comprehend it who's actually in that storm, in that struggle, in that problem. That person that's suffering with cancer, or that person that's struggling through a divorce, or the loss of a child or a loved one, or whatever you're struggling with, when you're actually physically in that issue, it's hard to imagine that Jesus can give you peace. And I know this, and I can talk about this because I went through the same stuff. I went through the same struggles when I was going through my previous marriage, my previous divorce, with my previous marriage. I struggled, and everybody told me, you can find peace in Jesus. You can find peace in Jesus. Look to the Bible, look to the scriptures. But it was hard for me to see that during that time. And so I just turned to what I knew would at least drown out that pain for a little while. I turned to alcohol, I turned to sex, I turned to relationships, I turned to everything possible except for Christ. And then when none of those things filled that empty void, when none of those things filled that hole, that's when I finally was like, you know what? All right, I'll try this Jesus thing out. And I'll tell you what, it was the greatest decision that I ever made in my entire life. And I wish that I turned to Jesus sooner in my life, because that is when I truly found peace in my life. That is when I truly found peace during the struggles, during the storms, during whatever happens. But now here's the issue that I'm having now. Like, I know the peace of Jesus, right? I love it. And things are going great in my life, but I see so many of my friends struggling right now. So many people struggling and going through problems. I got friends who have loved ones going through cancer treatment. I have friends and loved ones who have lost loved ones, and I see their pain and I see their struggle. And I just want to tell them, Jesus will give you peace. But me saying it and them actually believing it and experiencing it are two completely different things.